Welcome back to the Charismatic Voice. Tool is a fantastic group of lyrical and musical masterminds. And a bunch of you have been recommending that I listen to their song, The Grudge. Apparently, there's some sort of crazy scream in it. And I want to hear Maynard totally wreck his microphone. So let's get to it. Immediately, really cool time signature. I also think it's very interesting how the guitar and bass were interplaying at first. And shout out to Justin Chancellor and Adam Jones for that sort of weaving back and forth, and the way then the bass took it over was fascinating. I love the fluidity in the way that they make, I think it's essentially a 5/4 time signature. It feels like a combination of 1 2 3 and 1 2 together. I'll go back and count that out. Also, whoa, what a cool sound at the beginning. It sounds like almost like something old where you start it up and play it. It has a revving up that's in the sound. I don't know what it is. If you know, please tell me in the comments. Right? Cool. One, two, three, four, five. 1 2 3 4 5. 1 2 3 4 5. It's a cool way to make that time signature feel more fluid. All the things in the instruments here make it feel more hypnotic. Again, man, I just like the interplay between the guitar and bass a ton here right now. And then Danny Carey, I expected it to have some big boominess in the percussion, I would say. And I'm surprised the way it lightened up here. It has almost like an ethnic feel, like the drums are much smaller and being maybe played with the hands or some different device. It's again, it feels almost chant-like or seance-like. It's very, very interesting set of sounds and time signature. Wow, this is probably why it's hypnotic. The guitar is it sounds like it might actually be in a different time signature. Maybe they wrote it in the same time signature, but just wrote it over. But it feels like it's going 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3, and then it lines up every now and then. It's crazy. If I just listen to the guitar, I would think it's almost in a different signature. 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. Oh, that's so cool. Wow.
Wear the grudge like a crown. Negativity, calculate what we will not tolerate. Desperate to control all and everything, unable to forgive the scarlet letterman.
Whoa. Man, everything is just so intriguing. This intriguing sounds. The vocals that Maynard came in with had a lot of fry in the sound. Not fry like the register, but this kind of sound, essentially going and adding that into it. making it a little more spoken, a little more grating. And he was also doing it in parallel octaves. So I heard both a lower and an upper octave. Fascinating decision on, very deliberate decision for that vocal timbre. Oh, no, I need to go back further. This is too intriguing. It's really easy to listen to for a long time.
Wear the grudge like a crown. Negativity, calculate what we will not tolerate. Desperate to control all and everything, unable to forgive the scarlet letter.
Reference to the scarlet letter there. This is such a delightful bed of sound for the ears. I love, first of all, the delay that was put on the guitar here. It feels so spacious, almost like we're in a cathedral, which might be interesting in the context. I know that later on we have some references to Catholic Church disagreements, but also I love the spatialization of the drums and how they produced them in this record. I've got one that's really clearly on this side, another that's clearly on this side, and this wow kind of sound. It's so just many little sound bites that are woven together, and it really feels like they're woven into a pattern that's incredible and fascinating to analyze. It's so cool. I love that delay. Wow.
Clutching like a cornerstone, otherwise it all comes down. Justify denials, grip 'em to the lonesome man. Clutch it like a cornerstone, otherwise it all comes down. Terrified of being wrong, ultimatum prison cell. Saturn ascends, choose 1 or 10. Hang on or be humbled again.
I am really fascinated by Maynard's ability to get such deliberate tone out of the things that he sings, and also he's very specific about how he expresses different words, and also his syllabification and how he's placing the words. It's just, he's a very fascinating artist to me. Here he has some vocal technique that I feel like is reminiscent of some of the grunge trends in music, I would say. It sounds like the mouth is probably a little more closed. He's definitely got some more nasal resonance happening with a little more focus right here. And there's a lot of emotion that I hear packed behind it that isn't necessarily bleeding out yet, but I hear it kind of bottled up behind his voice. And that's one of the things that I think I am attracted to most in his voice, is the way it feels so full of emotion that often feels like it's ready to burst at any time. He's also very, very specific about his consonant placement, which you can hear just in this final again. When he goes to the end of that, he's deliberate about going to the end and then holding it out for a while longer as well. I'll go back just a little bit. He's so very precise. nicely on his voice there too. Oh, whoa.
Crushing like a cornerstone, otherwise it all comes down. Justify denials and crippled to the lonesome man. Saturn ascends.
I think that I heard them play this in a live concert a few years back. I've heard some Tool sprinkled around. I can't say I'm, a total Tool newbie. I've never done really deep dives other than the ones you've seen on YouTube. I've been purposefully trying to not listen to too many of the songs that we would see here on the channel so that the first time reaction would really be the first time that I was diving into it and really analyzing it with you guys. But this part, the clutch it like a cornerstone, that's sticky. I just have some sort of remembrance of it in a concert, and that's a really good sign. That tells me that is one of the things that grabbed me, and I think it's important for bands to have moments like that, especially if they're a progressive band, have moments that hold on to people through the years. And it made me so happy to have this moment of like, oh my gosh, I feel like this is sticky from a couple of years ago. At least a couple of years ago. I think it was 2.5 years ago now. It's just so impressive that is there still. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. Also, there was a really cool moment when we had the cymbals essentially go like across the stereo imaging and then back the other direction. It was really awesome. Okay, back. Right there. Oh, I love that. The production on Maynard's voice is awesome. Again, I just think that their production is fantastic in this. So far, every little part is grabbing me. The sounds are clear and interesting. I love it. So Maynard's voice, to me, here, it sounds like it's been doubled. And it's possible that he put even a little more distortion on one of those doubles. So basically, he would have recorded it twice, probably, so that they weren't completely identical and don't create some sort of weird phasing effect. So you'd record it twice. And I think that one of those recordings had a little bit more distortion on it because I hear it kind of pushing through the other one. So it's very, very interesting. Or that might have been a plug or a production decision in the end. But it has a very aggressive edge to it that I think is made more aggressive by that doubling as well.
Comes round again. Saturn ascends, the one, the ten, ignorant to the damaged
Ooh. I mean, I don't think that's the scream that people are talking about, but I really appreciate the way he dragged out done, right? I think that phrase here is something about damage done. And you can feel as if it's like tearing apart his voice. I don't think it's actually tearing apart his vocal folds. He's got good technique, I think, underneath him. But it sounds like it's ripping his soul out as he's singing it. And the slide down even adds to that. It's very, very good. Whoa, that packs a lot of emotion.
Wear the grudge like a crown. Negativity, calculate what we will not tolerate. Desperate to control all and everything. Unable to forgive, scarlet love. Wear the grudge like a crown. Desperate to control. Unable to forgive and sinking deeper.
Ooh, ooh, I liked that shift in the music that just happened. It feels like a very good moment to headbang. uh, the Again, I'm fascinated by the production. I feel like we could just learn so much by studying the production of this song. They've done an amazing job of splitting. Once we got to this most recent section and the "Wear the Grudge Like a Crown" part, they've split his voice on the side, and it feels almost like a rap that's happening. Um, and it feels like it's starting to surround you a little bit more. And then suddenly later, the solo voice cuts through. It's much more centered again. I want to go back. I just, it is so intriguing and specific and clean how they've produced this. A little further. The lyrics, I read through them ahead of time, and I understand there's a lot of references essentially to Catholic Church and Galileo. There's references to 1 in 10 and Saturn, and essentially I think that this grudge is about how the Catholic Church didn't want to accept that we weren't the center of the universe in the 17th century. And Galileo said, no, 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 no. The earth cycles around the sun. And they branded him as a heretic, really holding a grudge against him and kind of continuing a grudge then against science for some time. And then later I refuted it. But I think it's interesting that you have words like calculate in here, right? Which would be referring, I think, to Galileo's calculations. And it's calculate what we will or will not tolerate, like choosing maybe when to calculate or when to rely on something like that. And this desperation to control everything, I feel like we can really relate that to a lot of things currently happening in society, wherever you are. But it's fascinating how that willingness to shift points of view, especially as new information becomes available, it's just difficult for people to do. And it can be very difficult to kind of get out of a certain groove. And it's fascinating to me that this was a problem, that was so very apparent in the 17th century and something that I think many of us still face today. And I feel like I love that Tool has come up with lyrics that can be so applicable to the 17th century or now, right? There's a way that they make it very human, but with words that are very lofty sometimes and just require you to dig into them a little bit and then go, oh, wow, this applies to so much in life. It's pretty amazing. Really, again, I feel that there's they are masterminds of both music and lyrics together. So that's really cool. Right? I feel very touched right now. I'm sinking deeper with controlling and defining, right? It's so hard to sometimes not feel in control of things. Anyhow, wow. These lyrics, I think, are incredibly, incredibly profound. Let's keep going. what a massive shift. Okay. Wow, wow, wow. This the expression of choose to let this go right after talking about Saturn. I think we're referring to this moment of Saturn's ascent, I think is what it's called, when Saturn comes back around. Like it's born, when you're born, it's in a certain place. And then when it comes back around, I think around 29 and a half years, I believe that's when the ascent is. That's supposed to be a very significant moment in a person's life that leads to, I think it's a big moment of change. It's a large moment anyhow. What were you doing when you were 29 and a half? I think I was at LA Opera at the time. I think that was the summer that I sang at the Hollywood Bowl. That was pretty cool. That was awesome. I'll have to look up some fun pictures and post them in the community later and be like, oh, this is from 29 and a half. So anyhow, it'd be really fun to hear in comments what you guys were doing when you were 29 and a half and see if that was a big changing moment indeed. So anyhow, back to this huge shift in the texture, going from extremely aggressive vocals and not just aggressive vocals, but aggressive instrumentation as well, right? And then suddenly soothing on Choose To. He's very clean, really more legato as well. Everything about it says it's a massive shift. I'm going to go back a little bit. Oh, I'm going to go back further. Get more of that feeling in that transition. Okay. He's distorting so much to this point and giving so much aggression to it. He even loses pitch in that moment, making it feel purely like shouting. I love the doubling again. And even the way he's going around and tossing it off and sort of doing a yell off of it, that makes us feel like it's more aggressive as well. So many little things in here signify to our brains this is aggressive. And then I'll talk about all of the soothing things that he does afterwards. So soothing things that make this really soothing vocally are things like the pitch not moving around as much, right? It's not bouncing. He's got much more elongated static pitch, a legato line, so it's a much longer line as well. He is elongating the vowels a ton. And he'll close the vowels a little more quickly in the aggressive parts and really punch them out. And the consonants here are a little more soothing. He's more gentle with them. And I think it's also just tone quality wise, he's gone to a clean vocal here. He's also pulled in a lot of like a trickle down from some upper placements. So it feels a little bit more, it's more ethereal. It feels lighter, a little fluffier, right? Whereas before there's a little more pulling up from the bottom to get more aggression in the sound. So a lot of really cool things that he's done to shift that. I think that we're in a 10-8 time signature now. I'm getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it's almost like it could be a 6-8 and 4/8 or 2/4 measure, however you want to count that last one. But it's, it's just, that's really cool. And also that's double what the 5/4 was at the beginning, which is interesting to me. Uh, I love the way they make these odd time signatures feel so smooth. It's shocking. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Wow. This tone quality is very different from the two before. It's something in between, but he's got so much sighing in it, and there's little slides. It's just it almost sounds, well, maybe because I'm hearing the lyrics too, it's like feels like it's trying to convince you to give up of something, like release something. I'm It's such an interesting tone quality to take, and it really evokes a lot of emotion again. Tons of sliding, tons of sliding. Lots of sighing in the sound. Oh. Interesting, as he was going through that, we heard a little more distortion into the voice, just a teensy bit more. Like it was becoming a little bit more anguished. And this, it's so, the delay on that, I don't know if that's in post or maybe he would have even done that with his mouth to continue to make sounds while pulling the microphone away on the word gold. But fascinating as well. Cool. Huh. Ooh. So I'm fascinated by sounds again. Sounds like he's making a very low, kind of like almost like a moan that's down low, and then there's some sort of tinkle. Is there like a wind chime that's in there as well? The soundscape of this is enormous and just so intricate. I think that was it. That is a very, very long scream. And it sounds like he's just so anguished and giving up, which is exactly what he was talking about right before. Like he's giving up on everything. It's just a scream of frustration. Wow. I think a lot of us could have screamed like that in 2020. Maybe not that long and that well, though. But whoa, how long was this scream? We're going to count this out. Starts at 7. think that was a 25-second scream. That's a very, very long time to just hold a note. And I think about screaming and the control it must have. He must have to have that kind of intensity and maintain it for 25 seconds. That must be a ton of breath control. I like the way that it even has like a little decrescendo at the end. Also, it makes me more and more uncomfortable as it goes on. I've screamed into a pillow, several times. Of course, I feel like most of us have done that, I hope. Um, so, but those screams are often very short screams, right? You think about, if I'm going to scream, I'm not going to scream for 25 seconds. That's a long time to scream. And I don't think I've ever even attempted to scream for 25 seconds like this. Obviously, he's using some really good harsh vocal technique there, or he would have totally wrecked his voice. But I think about, yeah, that's a really long scream. Sometimes I've heard it said that opera is essentially screaming, but making it sound pretty. So from that perspective, have I held high notes for a very long time? Yes, which is kind of like yelling for a very, very, very long time, but it's very different from this, right? When you're singing a note, your vocal folds are having more closure on them. When you're screaming, there's a different sphincter that's higher up in the neck that is creating that impedance, essentially, of the air, which creates those sound waves that create the sound. So I would think that more air would be escaping during that, though I'm not exactly sure. I'd be very curious to read some studies about that. And I think it's very impressive that he can hold this for 25 seconds, and I appreciate the emotional effect greatly. So we're going to go back and listen to it again. Yeah, okay, feels really uncomfortable right about here. Really well maintained. Woo! Wow. I feel like we need some silence after that because I just feel shaken. Okay, gonna take a deep breath and then I'll rewind and go back just a little bit and continue. That's nuts. That's nuts. His breath control is insane. That was an awesome build with the let goes. When the, I felt like a clap, but maybe like more like a wood clap. When that came in, that shifted my sense of where the downbeat was as well. And at first I couldn't even tell what he was saying. I just heard a little bit of syllables in the background, and for it to merge and become let go, and the way he's screaming it every time. Wow, it's strangely inspirational. Okay, back a little bit and then keep going. Oh, okay. I'm going to go back and listen to that last part one more time. I was enjoying this sort of sounds like there's something rippling over the drums. I guess that is Danny Carey, but I just really dig the way that you can hear this flow across the drum set as he's playing. It's fascinating. Um, he makes me appreciate percussion drums in a totally different way. I listen to drums with, I would just say, new ears because of him. I'm gonna go back once more to right around here. Yeah, this is where it starts to look like. So cool. Overall, I think that a person can't listen to this without feeling admiration for the expressiveness of Maynard's voice. From that beautiful, clean, soothing part to this 25-second scream, he has so much control and ability to adjust his sound to be exactly the expressive emoter that he wants for the various lyrics that he's written. It's just incredible. And I love the way that the other band members have played with the time signatures and made them smooth. And then the way that they invite us into this soundscape that has so many sparkly noises that are woven into music. It's just extremely fascinating to listen to. And then at the same time, it has emotional depth that you can really dig into. Fascinating and wonderful, complex, beautiful music. Thank you all for this recommendation. I greatly, greatly appreciate it. And that scream was definitely worth getting to and enjoying thoroughly. So thank you so much. If you would like to hear more Tool songs and analysis, check out this playlist here. And just once again, thank you for all of your recommendations. I hope to see you again in another video soon.